This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy and Dulux Maitland.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Cape Rugby TV Wednesday night, 9 o'clock, and we bring you the very best of what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Still lots of action. This is our final week of friendlies coming up now, this coming Saturday, and then of course next week it's the start of the league season. Very exciting. Everybody's about getting the ball rolling, so to speak. We're going to take a look tonight at Blue Stars up against Franschhoek. Cities and Temperance were in action against Young Gardens over the weekend. We were out there just for a short little interview, managed to get some, call it cell phone footage, and we'll take a look at the logs, the results and the fixtures, at least not the logs just yet, or the results, other than the results from the friendlies. Let me introduce my panel this evening. Jerome Paarwater, welcome back.
Yeah, JP. As you say, it's last week for clubs to polish up, because next week it's the real thing starting, so looking forward to that.
Jono van der Walt, nice to have you back.
Yeah, just thank you, JP. Good to be back.
You've been busy?
Yes, I think like most clubs in the Western Cape, we've had 12 weeks of pre-season, 3 months, and it's time to get the league started. Hopefully all things going well and no drought issues this year. I know there are a few fields that are still a bit sandy out there, but let's hope that some of the rains come and we can kick off and guys can play some rugby this year.
You're obviously talking about False Bay now.
Talking about all clubs there.
All clubs. But on the False Bay topic, did you guys play friendlies this year?
Yeah, I try not to call them friendlies, JP. I don't know why we tend to do that, because there's nothing friendly about the game. So I've always called them warm-up games. Yeah. We're just warming up towards the league.
Just incidentally, how many did you play?
We played 3 warm-up games.
Okay, so not too many.
Not too many.
Okay, because I know that you're against all these friendlies.
Yeah, I don't look. There is the old adage that you only get match fit by playing matches. Yeah. But you don't want to play too many games, and also you need to also peak at the right times of the year. So with the new structure of our league, if you're fortunate enough to make the top 6 and you can get to the playoffs, that's kind of when it all counts, because you could go unbeaten in all the league games and then you lose in the playoff and it doesn't really count for much. So yeah.
And then of course you also is the match against the Stormers, do you count that as one of the 3?
No, that was just a nice little small warm-up game with a bit of chuckers.
Chuckers involved there. Right, folks. Jono van der Walt from False Bay is involved with us this evening. But of course, Jono is experienced across the board and will be able to talk to us about all club rugby. We'll also be taking a look at the new launch that we put out today called Club First, which is a business listing directory for businesses that are linked to clubs out there. That way you can give a little bit more back to your local business. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Blue Stars up against Franschhoek in a second, but of course big thanks to Score Energy Drinks, who's on board with Cape Rugby TV. Remember, you can win yourself a case of Score during the course of the show, so make sure that you keep your mobile phone handy. Of course, Dulux Maitland at number 30 Kuberg Road, just over the road from Voortrekker Road, on board with Cape Rugby TV. Make sure you support Dulux Maitland, your specialist paint centre, and MChem 24-hour Pharmacy. They're, of course, on the corner of Durban Road and the N1. And incidentally, when the Stormers get back, the DHL Stormers, when they get back from their overseas trip, they will be doing a visit to MChem 24-hour Pharmacy. So make sure that you find out or watch the show, and we'll let you know when the Stormers are going to be at MChem, and you can get out there and take the kids and go and have a lot of fun. Blue Stars up against Franschhoek. Let's take a look at the first half. right, there we go. Blue Stars United up against Franschhoek. Of course, Blue Stars won the Northern League and the Promotion League in this first year in a Super League C. Jerome, Franschhoek coming away with a 21-7 lead there at halftime. We will still take a look at the halftime, the second half at least. But your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, I must say, I mean, we know Franschhoek is a quality side, and I think Blue Star, they held him quite well in the first half, though the score looked like that, but great performance by Blue Star. I mean, they coming up, and I just think like Franschhoek at the back, they too much. I mean, there are too many strike runners at the back there and score lots of tries at the back. So, but Blue Stars held them quite well up front.
Yeah, Jono, your thoughts looking at that for Blue Stars as their first year in Super League C?
Yeah, look, I think JP, just to go on the game, I always believe that rugby is 80 minutes, so I wouldn't judge too much on a half time, especially early on in the season. Sometimes guys come out the blocks a little bit too hard. A little bit of continuity. Franschhoek looked like they're full of running over there, and again a nice crowd to turn out, and we'll have to watch what the second half holds as well. It's
going to be interesting. Let's catch up now with Blue Stars United coach Eddie Klutter before we, of course, we will also be speaking to Captain Henry Selala.
Ik denk dat was een wonderlijke dag voor die gemeenschap. Ik denk dat was een wonderlijke dag voor allemaal van ons, voor die spelers, die clubs wat involved is en zo. Ik denk dat die dag was net fantastisch geweest. Die atmosfeer was fantastisch. Die mensen komen al goede rugby gekry en al goede rugby gezien. Dit is een gemeenschapsklub. Al die players wat hier gespeeld kom met die gemeenskap uit. So ons probeer die gemeenskap bou en probeer die gemeenskap bou. Dit is belangrijk voor ons dat ons die leiders op die veld kan kry, dat hulle kan begin oefen, kan sien die talent wat hulle het, wat hulle verder kan gaan, waarmee hulle kan gaan. En probeer vir hulle natuurlike spel sit. Ons sit 'n bietjie strakse in, maar ons laat hulle ook die helfte van 40 minute laat hulle eie game speel wat voor hulle sien. Dis vir ons belangrik, ja. Kyk, hierso aanvaarbaar kan jy sien ons speel tussen RDP. Hier's misdaad is hoog, dwelmgebruik is hoog, domestic violence is hoog. So van ons kan ons probeer die spelers kry hier, probeer die ouers kry, kan sien wat 'n talent hulle kinders het, dat hulle kan wegkom van daai soort van ewels af en dat hulle talent wat die Here wil gegee die op die rugbyveld kan uitstal en vir hulle ouers kan wys, maar ons moet as ons 'n opportunity te kry om hoor te begin speel en mense sien ons raak, ja, kan ons daar gaan speel. Ons het die ability om dit Super League C gaan taaf wees, maar hulle sal die ouens sal moet uitkyk vir Blue Stars veral vir die jaar, hopelik. Als die eerste kan aan ons kante, dan kan het misschien volgend jaar Super League weer gaan spelen. Ik twijfel niet dat hij.
Goeie game of rugby geweest. Op het einde van de dag het ons baie zwak begin. En ons praat baie aan. Ons is geneigd om een zwak begin te krijgen. En vandaag het goede oppositie wat die gaan leiden, het voor ons geweest. Zwak begin kan in de toekomst voor ons dier te staan komen. Maar rugby op die dag is 7-4. Die majority van die span komen van Klapmers af, kleine gemeenschap, maar ons klein maar vir die gemeenskap. En ja, soos ek sê, klein gemeenskap, nie baie van die grootste spelers nie, maar ons harte draas deur groot harte. Ek moet sê ons dissipline het ons lelik in die steek gelaat aan die begin van die wedstryd. Soos ek sê, om 21-0 agter te loop teen 'n sterk Super B-span was nooit maklik nie. Maar goeie terugvegpoging van die guys en as 'n paar goeie punte wat ons uit die game kan vat. Om die rede hoekom ons Franschhoek in die eerste plek genooi het, vriendlik, ons wou gekyk het waar ons is. Goeie voorseisoen gehad. Maar vandag was hy big een. So daar's 'n paar punte wat ons moet werk vir al ons dissipline, defense. Het ons lelik in die steek gelaat, maar die rede vir hierdie groot Super B-span om te kyk waar ons is en nog baie werk. Soos ek sê, ons gedink vandag is hard, dit raak dit moeiliker in die league, baie derbies, maar ons sien uit daarna.
Captain Henry Selala, just catching up with us there, of course, as well as Eddie Klutter. Jono, I think one of the important things, though, in any during this league is that you have to acknowledge, number one, that when you go up, there's going to be a change. And if you don't realize that, regardless of what we're going to see in the second half, you don't realize that, you might be caught out.
Oh, look, I think to go up in any league, whether you're going from SLC to SLB and SLB to SLA, there's a jump in conditioning, physicality, just general strategic play, speed of the game. You know, there's often guys that like to say that SLB and SLC are far quicker than SLA. maybe they just need to have a look and see. Obviously, once they're in the game, it might look slower on the videos, but, just possibly because it's more physical. But I think the debate is up there. So I just think that every league you go up, you need to step up across the board, and that comes as well as on and off the field as well.
It could be that they're just watching it when we played in slow-mo, and then, of course, much slower.
It's possible, yes.
Yeah. Jerome, your thoughts on the topic, the jump. I mean, you've got to make. I think one of the big problems that a lot of the clubs got is that making the jump, they also think, and we're not, is that there seems to be a greater desire for sponsorship, a greater desire for money when you move to the next league up.
Yeah, obviously, and with Franschhoek, I mean, for them, farming community, if they do their work properly, and I know a lot of farmers like rugby, if they go to, obviously the farmers will help them, because it's as Eddie was saying, it's for them the biggest challenge is to keep the guys going, because at that community there's a lot of, some guys use drugs, there's a lot of alcohol misuse, so it's good for them to get that guys together and keep them together and sell that as a sort of as a business plan, and you can see that the way they are playing, and I mean Eddie obviously he was at Franschhoek, so we know about a bit of he was at Franschhoek, one of the coaches there, so we know a bit of Franschhoek, and going back to his community and the help there is good to see.
Well, I think that debate around paying players is going to carry on, and I think we will continue to have that discussion here on Cape Rugby as to whether or not players should be paid, or do you just give petrol money, or maybe food, catering, transport, take care of all that, maybe boot kits and so on, arrange jobs, or do you pay players? We'll have that discussion still during the course of the year. We're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll take a look at the second half. Blue Stars and United at least up against Franschhoek. Was there a surprise turnaround? Well, we'll see. Back in a sec. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV, Wednesday nights. So we talk about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Make sure that you stay tuned every Wednesday, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And if you miss it, hopefully you don't, then you can make sure that you catch the repeat on a Saturday from 9 to 10. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as soon as you just go to search for Cape Rugby TV, subscribe to the YouTube channel, you put yourself in the space where you get a notification that tells you that the latest Cape Rugby TV clips are uploaded. Don't forget Score, of course. Score Energy Drinks is on board with Western Province Club Rugby, especially with the sevens, which happens at the end of the year. Now, if you want to win yourself a case of Score, then all you need to do is grab your mobile phone and SMS the word SCORE to 33090. 33090. You put yourself in the mix to win a case of Score Energy Drinks. Congratulations to last week's winner, Gavin Joubert. Gavin walks away with a case of Score. Gavin, one of the guys from Cape Rugby TV, is going to be in touch with you shortly. Let's go now straight away to the second half between Blue Stars United and Franschhoek. Right, all action there, of course, at Clubmats, where Blue Stars were up against Franschhoek over the weekend. Right, gentlemen, you've seen a little bit more. You've now seen the second half. Your thoughts?
I just want to ask Jono something. That guy, Jono, that number 14, that dive, I think it's the second time that I've seen it. I don't know if it's they call it a TV take, but what would you do, a guy dive like that and he injured himself? Would you pay for his medical bill?
Well, never mind injure himself, but knock the ball on and not score the try, which I've seen too many of those in the past. You know, we try and say it in video sessions all the time. Just dive in and score the try, but dive low, put the ball down first, and then do whatever tighty dance you want to do afterwards. But don't do that in the air like that, because we definitely have seen a few AC joints and some collarbones that definitely get put out.
Yes, that's dangerous. I mean, there's no water and the ground is hard. So
well, I think, gentlemen, I think I can top that one for you. I've seen a player celebrate after the whistle, jump in the air, and come down and bust his knee ligaments. So if you're going to celebrate, probably celebrate it. I don't know when you're going to celebrate, but just celebrate carefully, right? Celebrate carefully. Yeah, but generally, I mean, that's an age-old story, you know, the dive over the ball. I mean, we've seen players injure their sternums. We've seen players hit their solar plexus where they land on the ball. You've got to be careful. Anyway, let's get back to the game. It was, of course, a good result there then for Franschhoek, but a lot closer than we thought, Jono.
Yeah, I think we're just commenting, obviously watching some of the game there, and the standard and level of the rugby is actually quite high. And I think again, credit must go to the coaching staff, but obviously as well as the players. We could see that Blue Stars came back from behind and almost managed to pip Franschhoek there right at the end. It looks like we're making comment. The packs were fairly decent size, and the backs are full of running. So again, a decent game to end off with there.
Jerome, on your side?
Yeah, as Jono said, it's a good combination between backs and forwards. If I look at the scrums, it was quite even. Big pack of forwards, both backs, but guys look fit, and the backs really look strong. And I must say, I like the offloads in the tackle and hitting the space. Lots of tries. I just think both sides can work a lot more on their defense, because there were too many easy tries on both sides. Yeah. And we also see the fans of Blue Stars started to smell the wind there.
Well, wasn't that fantastic? Also, looking at those fans, the singing and the enjoyment. If this is pre-season, imagine what it's going to get like during season. Of course, there is the feeling though at the moment it's a friendly. You can't really lose. Hopefully, we have fans that will sing like that, win or lose.
Yeah, look, we know Franschhoek always take their fans wherever, but you could see like the fans of Blue Stars also. So that's good. It's good for the community. It's good for everybody to go out on a Saturday. So I think that Blue Stars fans will also travel with their team as Franschhoek's guys travel. So it's good for the fans and it's good for the community. There's something on Saturdays now to go and watch good rugby.
Right, folks, it was, of course, a win then for Franschhoek over Blue Stars, 38 points, 33. But as many have said, the results don't really matter this time of year. This coming weekend will be the last chance for friendlies, and then, of course, on the 6th of April, the season gets started. We'll take a look at that in a second. But let's catch up with coaches and captains from Franschhoek. Here's Jaco Stadler.
Ek gaan sê, weet jy, eerstens dankie vir almal wat uitkom met ons Hemelse Vader vir dit, vir die talente wat ons gekry het om te kom speel vandag. Ek dink dit is amper soos 'n kind of a derby. Verlede jaar was vir ons 'n bietjie kind of a revenge. Mense noem dit nooit 'n revenge, maar ja, van 32-14 af voor en ander faktore wat games bepaal is seker ideaal, maar dit daar gelos is. Almal kan net beter doen in voorbou om klub rugby, soos jy sien, dit was seker maklik 5-6 000 mense vandag. Ek dink die gees was fantasties. Dis tog waaroor klub rugby gaan. So ons moet maar net streef om dit beter te maak. Super B, Super C, dit maak nie regtig saak waar jy speel nie. As jy die basiese dinge reg doen, dan gaan jy wen en op die einde van die dag miskien bounce of the ball aan ons kant, miskien bounce of the ball aan hulle kant wat hulle nader gebring het. Maar hulle is 'n goeie span en sterkte vir hulle in Superliga C. Ek moet vir jou sê hierdie jaar is seker die League of Death. Dit is 'n belaglike moeilike liga om te speel Super B. Ek dink dit gaan die toughste een van almal wees.
Daar's soveel goeie spanne hierdie jaar, maar ons mikpunt is wedstryd vir wedstryd en waar eindig sal ons eindig. En vir ons gaan dit wees om die basiese en die konstante dinge reg te doen en rugby sal seëvier en nederig te bly en die man van bo te dien en hy kyk na ons en ons almal kyk na mekaar as 'n gesin.
Ons het geweet gaan 'n lekker moeilike een wees want laas jaar het ons hulle onderskat. Toe wen hulle vir ons en hulle gesê het as ons hiertoe kom, as dit 'n uitdaging vir ons om hulle te wen want hulle het vorige week toe het hulle vir Gardens iets van 88-7. Dus het voor ons ook een eye-open, ons het baie hard geoefen in die weken, maar ons het een probleem in ons kracht. Maar nog altijd, ons zet er even in om. Maar vroeger of jaar te komen dat ons kan betijds klaarmaken. Ons weet van Klapmans, hulle hard op de hele tijd en ons het voorgelopen, soos 21-0 en waar hulle gemakkelijk terugkomt en ons het zo'n gewoonte dat ons gaan leren en dat is een probleem wat ons moet aan werk voor de toekomst. Ons is een gemeenschapsklap. Voor alle jong mannen, hulle kom so, hulle competeer samen met die oude garde so. Je kan niet een geitje maken voor andere mannen, want als je een geitje maakt, is het moeilijk om weer terug te komen. Hulle is een goede spangeest, als je kan zien, alle spangeest is op een level. Hulle moet niet trust aan elkaar hebben, want ik heb gezien, hulle skill en zo op elkaar. Maar ja, het gaat zo'n moeilijke game, maar sterkte voor hulle met hulle season voor en toe. Hopen het een goede 19. Onze eerste 3 games is weg en dat is 3 moeilijke games, maar soos ons altijd sê, ons hou hem daar, maar als we het laatste ophouden, gaan we het verder vat. We zien uit naar 2019.
Right, there we go. Justin Morgan, of course, is captain at Franschhoek, and Jaco Stadler, the coach of Franschhoek, and it was a 38-33 win there for Franschhoek over Blue Stars. Johnny, you've got a little bit of experience there with Jaco. Apparently, you guys played together.
Yeah, many moons ago up at Villages, used to pack down on the tight head side of the scrum, and I was a little scrum off, putting the ball in there. I can see.
Did you played scrum off?
That is correct. Yeah.
Little scrum off.
Yeah.
But look at the size of you.
I was a nice tall years van the West. It's all good.
Yeah. So you reckon? I mean, he's had a lot of. He's been with Franschhoek now for a while. Yeah. That brings consistency.
It does. It brings continuity in terms of not just selection, but in terms of the players and what the players expect of the coach. He's quite an experienced guy. He's been around for a long time, and Franschhoek have done very, very well. He alluded to the fact that SLB is an extremely tough league. Every league in the Western Cape is tough. SLB just happens to be one of those that's maybe just tough to win. We've been fortunate enough to win it in 09 and 12, and it's not nice to go down there because you just know every single week is do or die, and that's exactly what it is. But I have news for all the other guys. SLA is no different, and every week is pretty much do or die, and the SLC guys will tell you, and so will every single league. So every league is hard. It's just very hard because you've got that one more step to get to the top league. But yeah, you have to do your homework, you have to be prepared, and it's not easy out there.
Jerome, but isn't that the nice thing about club rugby is that even though you're playing a team, you're playing a league, it's still everything is individual. You play rugby, and for you yourself, if you're committed and you put in 100%, then your own 100% is different to Jono's 100%, which is different to my 100%. And that's what makes the rugby and sport so beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And as Jono was saying, it doesn't matter, also what you're saying, it doesn't matter in which league you play.
As long as you play.
As long as you play and as long as you're competitive, each league is competitive. So you can't even say, even if a guy dropped down to Super C, he can't say that he will win that league. You still have to be competitive, you still have to do your work.
Well, I was looking at that over the weekend, and I was thinking about this around the concept of the maul, the maul that's pushing over the line, is that obviously you've got two forces of, say, for example, 8 players against 8 players all pushing. So you need every player to give 100%, otherwise there will be less power on the one side or the other side. If each player gives 100% and each player is all as strong as each other, it'll stay still. But if one player drops out by 1 kilo or 5 kilos, immediately it'll weaken. So you rely on the maul, no matter how tired you are or your friends are, you rely on all of your partners to be pushing 100%. You can hide if you want to, you can jippo if you want to, but that's what you're trusting on in the team environment, is that every guy's giving 100% to get one way or the other. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
James, look, we often get asked, especially in recent years, in the last decade, like what is the easy quick fix besides the other people just trying to always use money as a thing. But but why is a team very, very successful, whether it be club rugby or anything? And I always like to think that if you had a squad of 22, how is it possible that you can get all 22 to be on the same page, for them to be committed in this day and age where we have family, there's work, because it is club rugby after all, we're not professionals. How can you get that band of brothers, get that team, get that collective to commit to training, to commit to a certain style of play, and then to go out and execute that on a Saturday, week in, week out, until you reach a playoff stage, until you win that league to then come through? Whichever team, coach, group of individuals, community can get that right, those are the guys that are successful at the end of the day.
100%. I watched a few games last year. Jono was talking about money now. And I watch a few games, and I know certain clubs are paying guys a lot of money. And they get beaten by a club who don't pay any single cent. So that's just it's just a mindset.
Yeah.
Because a lot of players, JP, think, and look, it's like they always say, I don't know if it's still the same, money can't buy love, but it's the same. You can buy the best player. If that player is only there for the money and he doesn't care about the club, you can forget about being successful.
But that's where it comes to you as an individual. You need to. We'll talk about this after the break. I think it's a very interesting conversation. This conversation of how much effort you as an individual can put in, or do you hide in the crowd? If this, for example, was a boxing ring, you get alone in that ring and you're a man alone. There's no 15 men standing around you. 15 would, of course, include the referee. We'll take an ad break. We'll be back in a sec. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. Remember, Dulux Maitland is, of course, at number 30 Kuberg Road, just over at Voortrekker Road. They've got all your paint supplies, the paint itself. They do the tinting for you, so anything you need paint-wise, they'll spec your premises. Dulux Maitland, number 30 Kuberg Road, official partner to Cape Rugby TV, and they will give you the very best of what is that you need. Right, gentlemen, let's quickly get back to this conversation about... we're going to take a look at the friendly results in a second, folks, but this concept of paying players, is it necessary in a community sport, in an amateur sport, to pay a player? Jerome?
JP, I think like it's tough now.
Sorry, let me just give this a little bit of other background. If you play squash, you don't get paid. If you do judo, you don't get paid. If you do karate, you don't get paid. Even if you're a professional boxer, sometimes you don't get paid. Why is it necessary that in the world of rugby, you must get paid?
Yeah, look, I totally amateur sport. I don't agree. You don't pay players in amateur sport, because that's why there's a professional section. So if you're good enough, you'll get a contract and you'll get paid. Then you're professional. But in amateur sport, I don't agree with that. But in certain circumstances, if a club see a good player and he lives 70 k's from the club, and you want to give him petrol money, you give him petrol money because it is tough. So you give him something. Yeah. But now, the next thing, the guy that lives next to the club find out you give this guy petrol money, then he don't want to play because this guy is getting paid.
Yeah, no, so that's where the problems start coming in. I think the guy that, what would be great is, transport and kit. Those are things. Buy boots, buy jerseys, that type of thing. I don't know, Jono, you're at False Bay, you guys got a lot of experience in this kind of thing, but maybe sometimes the case is also overstated, that there's an illusion that everybody gets paid, and not everybody does.
Yeah, look, the situation is more complex. I say that because it started way back when, probably 50 to 100 years ago, and it might not have been in terms of currency. Even when the game was an amateur, the minute something becomes competitive, and someone has started it way back when, we don't have to mention names of anybody, so it becomes competitive. People will tend to move because of whatever reason, either for a job, either for petrol or for something. Indirectly, you're still paying that player. Whether now or not it's a match fees and you have the means. If someone moves from, let's call it Busy Bees to Franschhoek, or Franschhoek to Busy Bees, because they know someone and have a personal relationship and they can get somebody a job somewhere, indirectly that player is getting paid. So that's why I said it's a bit more complex. It's not just a case of here's a match fee and so this club is paying and all these clubs are paying.
Ultimately, what is the responsibility of club management? What does that come down to? What is the definition of amateur sport? Why does a club exist? That club doesn't exist to turn it into a Liverpool or into a Manchester United. That club exists to serve the community.
Exactly, which is why I say it's a bit more complex, because it's not that it's been in the last decade or 2 or 3. This has been going on before we were born. We weren't even little saplings or seedlings or weren't even thought of. And this has already been going on. It's just in terms of even, like I look at SLA, B and C. There are clubs in SLC that have budgets and spend money. And this is to where our rugby has gone to. Look, of course, we can now start to debate and spend another 2 hours talking about soccer and all the likes of.
So then let me pause you there then. So the obvious question then comes into the picture that if it is a question of money, and one has to have money, and even if you don't need money to pay the players, you still need money for to buy boots, to buy line paint for the grass, to put on the lights in some cases, to buy kit, to buy jerseys, to get transport. Obviously, then sponsorship is absolutely critical. And if you want to pay players, well, it's simply you're going to have more sponsors.
Agreed. And also, even if you want to be competitive at the top echelon, I just don't. The thing that I struggle to get my head around, and again, this is up for debate, it's only my opinion. We play in a league, SLA. If you win the league, you get a handshake and you maybe go to Province and you get a trophy. You don't get anything. Nobody gets any money. There is no money. Our union is struggling with money, which is out there for the media to see. Clubs, industry, barring the alcohol industry, tobacco industry, and maybe a bit of retail are doing well. The rest of the markets and industry are struggling. There's no money. No. So I don't know where people come on, there's all this money that people are getting paid. There's long stories over there. People like to say, if I'm player X at a club, I love to boast about I get paid X and Y. Do you know how many people come up to me and say, do you know what? Yes, I played False Bay. I played in the first team. I've been there 10 years. I've never seen player X. But he's earned this and that, whatever. I've been at False Bay for 10 years. I've never seen that player. But he's played first team at False Bay and he gets paid a very large sum of money. So the story is, I caught the klein vissie, maar my vissie was so groot and so groot. Oaks love to have a talk. It's the banter. It is what it is. Yeah. Doesn't mean to say that it is not happening. Yes, there is money that is exchanging hands, and that goes across the board. I wouldn't put it to a few clubs. So it goes across the leagues.
Jerome, then if we are going to talk about sponsorship, which is what clubs desperately need, because government is not going to give you free money. The only other option is Lotto. Lotto can maybe give you money. The unions, federations across the country are all cash-strapped. There's very few sports organizations that are financially viable, or at least not viable, but have got the luxury to pay, to give checks. So on an amateur level, most of sport in South Africa doesn't get that sort of funding. So how important is local business sponsorship? Because surely that's what it is all about. You have no other choice. And what's more is if you look after local business has got to look after you.
JP, as I think as Jono was saying, everybody's struggling now with money. Businesses are struggling. But I think if you go to a business, if you go to your local grocery store or shop or whatever, and they make food or whatever they do, and I think if you go to that shop and say, listen, is there a possibility you can at least sponsor us one evening with bread or sandwiches so we can give to this guys, or coffee or soup or whatever, they will be more than happy to do that. Instead of going to ask them, I've got 10 players that I need to pay now, so I need to give them 1,000 Rand a week. Can you give me 20,000 Rand? You won't get anything because it's tough out there. So sometimes you're lucky, but if you go and ask the right things at wherever you want to go to, I'm sure people will help you.
So different ways to find sponsorship. We're going to talk a little bit more about that still during the course of the show. So don't go away. It's in fact a hot topic at the moment. It's going to be available for a while. In fact, we're going to take a quick ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll take a look at the friendly results and talk to you about the sponsorship model. At least not the sponsorship model, the business listing model. Club first. We've just put it on Facebook. For those of you that have got small business out there or want to have business at a club, support the local business. We'll talk to you about that in a sec. Let's take an ad break first, and we'll come back. We'll take a look at the friendlies, and we'll talk about club first. Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Cape Rugby TV. Nice to have you here. As we mentioned before the break, we were talking about this paying players now, but we'll talk a little bit about business sponsorship in a sec. Let's quickly take a look at the friendly results over the weekend. Well, it was a win for Milnerton, 35-21 over UCT. Kylemore with a win over Stellenbosch Coronations. Young Gardens, 14-0 over Temperance and Cities. Tigerberg beating Vineyards. It was a win for Langa over Collegians. It was a win for Primrose over Morningstar. Hands and Hearts with a win over Montague Villages. Eerste Rivier went down to St. George's. Strand United with a win over Rocklands. Gardens with a win over Manenberg Rangers. Blue Stars then going down to Franschhoek, as you saw, of course, in the highlights. And yeah, so a number of friendly results. Of course, those are the friendly results that were shared with us. Jono, let's quickly talk about the interesting result there. Union Mill beating UCT. This is, of course, in your league, which hence the fact I'm going to you.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's too surprising. I think Union Mill have been on a tour to Durban recently and played a very tough Rover side. They've had a few other friendlies as well, played against Villages. Varsity will have pretty much most of their guys doing Varsity Cup duty and Young Guns, so they'll have a few of their outside group playing there. So I think Unimil, again, they were also semi-finalists last year, ended up fourth, we were third. So Unimil are definitely a team on a mission, and they want to make sure that this year, or one obviously like all of us, we want to make the playoff, and then when we do make the playoff, we want to make it count. So I think Unimil, Ishini's guys are definitely on the right track. We've had a few encounters with them this year, a little fitness competition. And yeah, I must say that.
Yes, we had Ish over here the other day.
That's correct. So
talking about you.
So I must say that Unimil got their ducks in order this year. Yeah.
Jerome, let's go to you. Tigerberg with a 21-14 win over Vineyards. It was only last week that I found out that Anton Moelman is coaching at Tigerberg.
Yeah, Anton is at Tigerberg, coaching there. Yeah, so that's also quite a tight result. I expected Tigerberg to do much better there, but I don't know, maybe they've changed a few of their players just before the league starts, so that they also have a big squad. But a good result there. I mean, for Vineyards it's not bad. The other result, JP, is that Kylemore and Stelco, and that's also a big derby game there. Two teams from Stellenbosch, so that's also interesting result there.
I thought the Primrose Morningstar was a close result. Morningstar getting stronger and stronger, and of course Primrose also showing that they've got the ability to win it. But come league time, it might have to pull a little bit more gas out of the tank. Anyway,
I've spoken to last Saturday at Durbanville. I went to watch the Gold Cup game there. So there was a guy from Morningstar. So if I look at that result, he said that they definitely ready to go higher. So if you look at that result, he wasn't wrong.
This is the last week for friendlies. Let's take a look at the friendlies that are on the cards for this weekend. Hamiltons are up against Villages. Strand play Gordon Leopards. Kylemore up against Simondium. Young Wesley's take on Western Zebras at least. Macassar against Ashton United. Whistling Wheels against Noordlikers. Blue Stars against Young Standards. And then we see Rocklands are up against Silvertree. Cryfontein and Goodwoods. Lawrence and Atlantics. Penil Villages and Paarl Rangers. Franschhoek and Roses United. Durbell are up against UCT. Belleville is travelling all the way to Hopefield. Vineyards and Manenberg Rangers. All right, so let's quickly take a look at some of those friendlies. Hamiltons and Villages. Jono, that's of course typical Super League A derby. That is in fact the derby. Is that the annual derby?
Yes, it is the annual derby. So both teams are looking pretty decent this year. And let's see how it goes. I think Hammies will enjoy a nice home game. I think their clubhouse has just been redone, and they've looked to upgrade some of their facilities. So should be a good day for all the guys there.
Yeah, I think now that Villages is back in Super League A, it's going to be a bit more of a challenge than we saw, I think, 3 years ago, where the scoreboard was running out. So Villages certainly must be happy with their climb out of Super League B.
Yeah, I think again, everyone loves to play at the top side of things, and I know Villages last year might have just escaped. I think they're fourth or fifth from the bottom, so didn't find it too easy coming up from SLB, and they're just maybe a little bit lucky that maybe Ballard and those guys kind of didn't have their thing sorted. But it doesn't matter, it's a new year, and they've prepped. I know they've got a new coach, and they've got some players there. They've got some academy guys in their lower teams as well, so I'm sure that they'll be looking to kind of correct all of the wrongs in 2019.
Durbell is up against UCT. Jerome, of course, Durbell's still busy with the Gold Cup. UCT's busy with the Varsity Cup. Is this not a little bit of a disruptive? Is it purely a question of making sure that the rest of the squad is getting airtime?
Yeah, I think that's what they do, especially UCT with the guys playing Varsity Cup. I think it's their last game coming up Monday. So this gives the extra guys a bit more game time, and Durbell also have a big squad. So it's good that the guys are playing.
Yeah, I think, folks, you can also expect a big derby, or at least a big match between Peniel Villages and Rangers. Right, we were out at City Park. At least it was a little bit of a casual turnaround. We just went around there. We didn't actually film the game. But as you know, citizen journalism is on the cards, and you can film pretty much anything with your phone. I was at the game, and I thought, let me just pull out my phone, because incidentally, Temperance and Cities were playing in a competition against Young Gardens, where they were playing for a trophy. So it wasn't just any friendly, there was actually an arranged friendly where the guys from Young Gardens had travelled all the way down to through Paarl to come and play at City Park against Temperance and City. Mario Williams from Young Gardens was there, and Herman Abrams, of course, from Temperance and Cities. We managed to just get you a little bit of behind the scenes footage. Let's see what happened.
Wel, JP, het was lekker om weer terug te keren naar City Park toe. Zijn geschiedenis wat ons heeft samen met Temperance Cities. Eindelijk beginnen in 1998 samen met Cities natuurlijk. Waar ons elkaar aangenomen als derbyspannen. En ons het, Young Gardens was oorheersend geweest in die derbies voor 5 jaar. En toen het Cities natuurlijk besluit, nee wat, hulle gaat maar nou weer onttrekken die derbies uit. En ik en Herman het natuurlijk gepraat om weer jullie inkomst of samenwerking weer op te tellen. En ja, en kijk, hier zoals vandaag het dus een lieflijke dag hier op City Park. Goeie rugby gehad. En ik is blij dat rugby op de einde van de dag geseerd en nieuwe vriendschapsbanden was weer gesmeerd vandaag hier zo. Wel, ons het nog een week oor voor voorbereiding. Die 6e tussen Harde en 10 Ellendale. En ja, ik geloof ons zal recht wees wanneer het komt bij 6 april.
Ik is trots om het te kan oorhandigen aan de kapitein van Gardens. Baie dankie dat julle gekom het.
Het was baie lekker geweest, goeie game geweest, lekker hard, goeie geest geweest, Temperance, well done, goeie span, sterk altijd om tegen hulle te speel. Voor my guys, joh, het was baie lekker geweest, eerste keer dat ons lekker supporter geweest het, samen met elkaar, goeie geest soos ek gesê. Wel, die oefenveld was regtig, was om so te sê pateties geweest, maar toen ons opdag vanoggend het ons net besluit, ons bly by mekaar, dis hier vandag geweest, bly by mekaar, bly in supporting, back mekaar al die pad. So ja, die liga begin oor 2 weke, dus daar 'n wedstryd wat voor lê, korrektiewe dienste. Terug tot by die drawing board en dan moes gaan regmaak wat verkeerd was.
Very nice day. Temperance had a bad day today. Unfortunately, all up to the fitness and game planning didn't go their way. So, but it was a nice game. Both sides need to work a bit on the discipline, but it's the beginning of the year. But there's no excuses because in the league we're not gonna take let anything slide. Just give a red card and finish off you go. And nobody wants to be out in the beginning of the year. So I think both sides need to work a bit on the discipline, but it's mostly because they are unfit. That's why they are lacking their discipline. The brain's getting tired, no oxygen. But most of all, overall, they played a good game. It's the most exciting thing. Every week you're in a different place, so why complain? It helps you control yourself. It helps you a lot of how to respect other people, and you need to deal with different opinions and different people. So people's skills get lifted up also. So that's it.
Right, so nice to see these little challenges, Jerome, where clubs are getting together and turning it into a little tournament. From what I understand, that competition was created in 1998. So it's been around for, I've got to do my maths, almost 20 years.
Yeah, no, it's good, and I mean, it's also good for the clubs around City Park, because there's not a lot going on at the moment, so it's good if they play, and it's good to see that they're busy.
Yeah, John, have you guys got any sort of twinning campaign projects like that? I know that Ish at Union Mill started something like that with SK Warmers. I don't know if you guys got anything similar.
Yeah, look, I think we used to play for a few trophies. We have one with UCT which is very strong. We've got some past UCT and Falsberg guys that are all in between the clubs. And then we also develop new ones. You know, us and Unimil have had an old one as well. We had an old Unimil player as well as Falsberg, so we play for a trophy there as well. And we've just turned it in fitness, rugby, whatever the case is. So
it's the CrossFit Challenge.
Exactly. So you'll have those clubs that you form relationships, whether it was playing or coaching or whatever the case is, and it's only good for the game. And it just
it's a great opportunity for you to check out some players that you might want to bring on pre-season before the registration closes.
Or likewise, it works both ways. So yeah.
Right, folks. Remember, MCAM 24-hour pharmacy in the corner of N1 and Durban Road, open 24 hours a day. They've got everything that you need, all your prosthetics, or at least your orthopedic products, your pharmaceutical products, your sports nutrition products. They've got a salon upstairs and a fantastic restaurant and free parking. That's what I love about MCAM. Free parking, guys. Convenient. All about convenience. MCAM 24-hour pharmacy. Pop around there anytime. But don't forget, of course, the DHL Stormers on their return from their overseas leg will be popping in there for a visit. And we'll let you know about that so that you can get down and get your autographs, your DHL Stormers autographs, and take the kids to go and take a look. We'll take a quick ad break. When we come back, we'll have a quick chat about the fixtures coming up. Right, welcome back everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. Remember now, as we mentioned to you in the show, we have just started Club First. It is a business listing service for anybody out there that is supporting a club. You just need to be a fan of a club or a member of a club. It's free listing, and from time to time, on the odd occasion, we'll pull some of those business listings and give them advertising here. Not advertising, but some exposure at least here on our TV show and on social media when we can. We're not a business listing service, but we think that this is great for clubs. Jono, just quickly in terms of your side, you guys have a lot of expertise at False Bay in terms of sponsors and how to work with sponsors. How important is it that if you have sponsors at your club, that your club people try and do business with those sponsors?
It's extremely important. I think one of the words which we say a lot is sustainability. So how can our club be sustainable, not just for 1 or 2 years, but for 5, 10 years, and as long as, basically until the cows come home, as we say. But it's extremely important. One, sponsorship, especially for a few here and there, you need to make sure that when a sponsor is on board, like any sponsor, what is the sponsor getting out of the deal? Otherwise, all a sponsor will just be doing is giving money and getting nothing in return besides the tax write-off that he gets.
Isn't that quite often the case, that we've got people at our clubs, local people there who are maybe even offering services, and they come in the evening or they come on the weekend and they're busy welding or they're busy painting or they're donating food, and we tend to forget about these guys.
Well, I don't know why we should forget about them, because
but we do. I get this. I hear this a lot. I hear a lot of people say to me, "Listen, I give a lot to this club, but when they need painting, they go to the guy down the road."
Yeah.
Or I'm a welder. I come here, weld my the stands, or I weld something, and then when the local people need a welder, they go to the guy down the road. Why don't they use me? I find that's the kind of thing we're trying to stop.
Yeah. I think, and I can only speak from our club's kind of experience. If we need a plumber, an electrician, if we need a builder, anybody, we will use our network and we will make sure that we use guys within our community.
Someone within the circle.
So we will call them False Bay guys. So if somebody is a lawyer, an advocate, an accountant, or obviously is in the trade and service industry, we will make sure that we know that guys, and we will try and, as best as possible, use a guy wherever we can.
Yeah. Jerome, clubs are built on local people. They are built by, quite often without sponsors. They're built without government or municipal support facilities. And generally, most clubs were created by a handful of people. I think you would know this intimately, the whole Parvata family being so involved in the world of club rugby, the Belleville structures, the inner Parvata Stadium. That came from people, local people, building the club. You've got to look after those local people.
But exactly, JP, you couldn't say that much better, because back in the days, myself and my brothers, we had a sports shop. But the sports shop was mainly to support the local people.
Brilliant.
And to do whatever you can, not to make money.
Yeah.
But then, some of that people will still walk past the shop to go and buy somewhere else. They could have bought maybe cheaper there by us, but it's to give back to the club and to give back to the community.
Yeah.
But that's how people are.
And they walk straight
I have first-hand experience of that, what you say. So it's very sad that people they're doing that.
Well, folks, that's really what we're trying to do here, is create an opportunity for local clubs to support local business. Remember, it works both ways. You support local business, the local business will hopefully support you. Quite often the local business will ask you, well, what am I getting out of the deal? Well, this is one way that you can say to them, well, we are going to be promoting our players to your local business. So this is an opportunity. Tell your fans out there, tell your members out there, list, or in fact, you can do it yourself, list the local business that are linked to your club. That's the only rule we got. You've got to be linked to a club. So that way, when somebody is looking for a business close to that club, they can find it. You can find this on the Cape Rugby TV website, www.caperugbytv.co.za. Jono.
I go further, not just the players. Remember, the players have got a family, mother, father, brother, sister, auntie, uncle. It gets bigger and it compounds. So it's not just the players, it's everybody. If everybody networks and knows, he says, but I have player X who is a plumber over here and he can come and help us out whenever we do, that is how we connect. Networking is the only way, especially not just when times are tough, but in general, and we have to support our community and in turn use the guys, because they're there every day, they're around there, and again, guys must tap into that.
Yeah, so it's just a start for us, folks. Hopefully one of these days it'll turn into call it almost like a support project. You simply go and type in on the website the club's name that you're looking for, and up pops all the businesses. We'll talk to you more about that during the course of the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, have a fantastic rugby weekend. Jerome, thank you very much.
Yeah, JP, thanks. Nice rugby coming up this weekend.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Jono.
Cheers, thanks again for having me. Always good to be here.
Fantastic stuff. Right, let me repeat what I was saying earlier on, folks. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour pharmacy, and Dulux Maitland.